Welcome to Southside News Today. It's Thursday, February 25th. I'm Chuck Vipperman reporting. Southside News Today is brought to you by Shanks Associates and by Dry Fork Fruit Distillery. Danville fire investigators say someone set a blaze inside of a hotel room early this morning. Call came in around 6:30 a.m. from the Astoria North Hotel on Piney Forest Road. Crews saw light smoke coming from room 22 on the first floor. There was a mattress on fire, and a fire had been set in the bathtub. Blaze was quickly knocked down. The room ventilated. It had smoke and heat damage. Now, the occupant was treated by the life-saving crew at the scene and taken to the emergency room. Quantan Montez Watlington was later charged with arson. He's now in custody. 4 more local residents, 2 each in Danville and Pittsylvania County, have died from complications of coronavirus. The death toll is now 164 in Danville and Pittsylvania County since the pandemic began. February continues to be the worst month in terms of deaths reported, although many likely occurred before the month began. Now, meantime, the number of new cases is remaining mostly steady. The daily dashboard report shows 15 new cases in the last 24 hours in Danville. The 1-week average in the city, daily average that is 15. In Pittsylvania County, 22 new cases were logged today. 7-day average in the county, now 14. Both of those numbers are at their lowest point since Halloween. Well, Pennsylvania County leaders want more direct participation on the City of Danville's Utility Commission. The Board of Supervisors is asking City Council to add an ex officio member of the board to the panel, one who represents one of the supervisor districts, which is served by Danville Power and Light. They would be a non-voting member. Right now, City Council appoints 6 members of the commission. One has to be a customer that lives outside the city limits. Council will begin debating the issue at a work session next week. The Democrat-led House passed a bill today adding LGBTQ protections to the nation's labor and civil rights laws. The bill passed on a 224 to 206 vote. 3 Republicans joined Democrats in passing the Equality Act. Local Congressman Bob Good was a no vote. He says the measure would erode religious liberty.
We're standing up for those Americans who are grounded in their faith, who believe in the traditional family, and are repelled by the offensive onslaught of attacks against their values, against their children, against their families, against their religious freedoms by the Democrat Party.
The bill now goes to the Senate, where it faces an uncertain future. Well, the General Assembly today gave final approval to a local lawmaker's signature piece of legislation this year. Danville Delegate Danny Marshall was the original sponsor of a bill that created Virginia's industrial hemp industry 2 years ago. There's already 1 production facility in the region, and more are expected. Dozens of local farmers have begun growing hemp as a supplement crop. Marshall's new bill aligns state code with recent changes to the federal farm bill, clearing the way for more local farmers to take advantage. State Senate gave final approval today to a bill that requires schools to provide full-time in-person instruction despite the pandemic. It had bipartisan support in both chambers. Supporters say the science shows school settings are one of the safest, and there's no reason public school students should not be learning in front of a teacher. It could temporarily revert, a school system could, to virtual learning if there were a large number of cases. The bill also says that school districts may provide fully remote virtual instruction to any student whose parent asks for it, as long as the governor's declaration of emergency is in effect. Teachers and state workers would get a 5% pay raise in the new proposed Virginia budget. Also more money for police salaries. Under an agreement House and Senate negotiators reached late last night, Virginia would add about $66 million to raise Medicaid reimbursement rates for home health care providers. It also includes money for sick leave for home health aides and a $15 daily stipend for nursing homes for each Medicaid recipient they treat. Also, the measure increases state support for public education and adds $80 million to help offset tuition increases at colleges and universities. Lawmakers now have 48 hours to review the plan before they vote on it. In sports, the GW Eagles this weekend will kick off the most unusual football season in program history. The pandemic postponed, of course, the fall 2020 season. Teams in Virginia are playing this spring in front of limited numbers of fans. Eagles coach Nick Anderson says it's been kind of hard coaching football in the age of COVID.
We tried to keep in contact with the kids. We did a lot of virtual online meetings because we couldn't bring the kids into the school, so we tried to teach football through internet, Google Meets or Zoom meetings. And I think it helped. It helped keep it fresh in their head. But you could tell once we finally got back on that field that they were a little rusty.
The Eagles open Saturday on the road against powerhouse Lord Botetourt. The other 5 games are in the Piedmont District. If you'd like to see a live stream of the Eagles game, here's a shameless plug. Go to the GW Eagles Facebook page, and the link will be shared shortly after noon on Saturday. Just go to Facebook, look up GW Eagles football. Trust me on this one. Let's take a look now at the bright side of life with our Live Positive moment. Here's Dr. Joey Fawcett.
I'm Dr. Joey Fawcett, coaching you to live positive today. Have you ever heard of the butterfly effect? It's the chaos theory about predictability that a scientist named Lorenz came up with. And that famous question, does a butterfly flapping its wings in Brazil result in a tornado in Texas? Now, the thought here is that the butterfly's wings flapping starts this wind current that grows and grows and grows until it reaches tornadic proportions in Texas. Now, I'm not a scientist. I'm not even the son of a scientist, so I don't know how true the butterfly effect is in Brazil or Texas. But here's what I do know. I know people, and what I do today affects you, and what you do affects me and the people around us. In fact, I've helped send people to Brazil to help house and feed Brazilians. And when my friends returned home, they were different. They were more concerned about basic human needs. And because they were different, the rest of us changed too. So as you make a life worth living today, remember, the consequences of your choices have a far-reaching effect, like a butterfly. Coaching you to live positive today, I'm Dr. Joey Fawcett.
Thanks, Dr. Joey. Your forecast calling for increasingly cloudy skies tonight. Lows down to 37. Tomorrow, it's going to be cloudy in the morning, rainy by afternoon, much cooler. Tomorrow's highs only around 43. And that's a look at Southside News Today. It's been brought to you by Dry Fork Fruit Distillery and by Shanks Associates, engineers, surveyors, and planners. I'm Chuck Bipperman. Have a great evening.